Welcome to the Forces Sports Show and the last of our special editions from the Invictus Games in Australia, coming up in the next half hour. The sun sets on the competition in Sydney, but the Invictus spirit burns brighter than ever. It's been another great Games for Team UK. We'll have the best of the action from the last few days of competition.
Away from the Invictus Games, the Adjutant General's Corps retain their crown as the best in Army netball. And the Royal Signals Women and RLC Men take indoor hockey titles at Aldershot.
The fourth edition of the Invictus Games here in Sydney is over, but it's been an amazing week of competition that will live long in the memory. The 72 athletes of Team UK delivered some outstanding performances and are taking home dozens of medals. Here's the best of the action from the last few days. As ever, the Games have produced countless golden moments, from selfless acts on the track, in the pool, and on the rugby court, to marriage proposals and demonstrations of exactly what the Invictus Games is all about. These images of UK competitor Paul Guest being comforted by his tennis teammate Edwin Vermeten will live long in the memory. But alongside those moments are all the massive sporting achievements reached by the 500 athletes. As is tradition, the Jaguar Land Rover Driving Challenge produced the first medals, and it was bronze for the UK team, Captain Doc Perkins and Dan Bingley.
Whatever medal it is, it's a great start for Team UK.
Right in the heart of Sydney, the sailing and cycling events were fiercely competed. 11 UK medals on the bikes, 7 of them gold, as the Brits dominated the track.
Awesome, words can't describe.
Mark Ormerod and Rachel Williamson led the way with 2 golds each in the rowing, as Team UK picked up 10 in total, including 33 personal bests.
Oh, I'm blowing out, don't worry about that.
The team sports kicked off with sitting volleyball, where Team UK won through to the final for a repeat of last year's showdown against Georgia. The Georgian national team, though, didn't lose a set in the whole tournament, and they were simply a class above, beating the UK in straight sets 21-14, 21-12.
Not like a team at the moment, we're more or less like a family.
We lost a great team. We could have done a little bit better.
Elsewhere, the middleweights were on the floor in the powerlifting, with Johnny Mitchell grabbing bronze with a lift of 162 kilograms.
It's making me feel light as a feather, to be fair.
The light and heavyweight events were just as successful. The man mountain that is Martin Tai powered to victory in the men's heavyweight, lifting a massive 206 kilograms to take gold, an Invictus record.
To do this on a stage like this is just magical.
In the lightweight category, Lee Matthews and Abby Kasparis both grabbed bronze.
To know my mum and my brother were going to be in the audience was just amazing.
Just really proud of everyone, so yeah.
16 medals went the way of the UK in the pool, where we saw the return of Invictus 2014 and 2016 veteran Mike Goody, an inspiration for his teammates with 2 gold, a silver and a bronze.
We're all winners anyway, doesn't really matter.
Olympic swimming legend Ian Thorpe was in place to hand out medals, and Rachel Williamson, much to her own surprise, also grabbed 4, 3 silver and a bronze.
And this is just a bonus at the end of the day, this really is.
Back at Key Centre, it was never going to be a placid affair between Team UK and Team Australia in wheelchair rugby. The hosts took the gold medal 23-17, Team UK not taking much solace from a silver, so determined were they to win.
I think we threw the game away in places.
They were the better team. We should have, could have, would have, but we got a silver.
An archery gold for Jen Collins and a team bronze in the recurve open before 2 days of athletics in front of a sellout crowd brought the Games to a rousing climax. The long jump is a new addition to the competition this year, and gold medalist Joe Dilnut more than exceeded his own expectations.
2 PBs and 3 medals today. Oh, and I made it through the opening ceremony and didn't drown.
The UK achieved a staggering 46 PBs in track and field. Cousins Alex and Matthew Tate were injured within 4 days of each other in Afghanistan, and they were in the front row to support each other in their events. Alex took a medal of each colour at the athletics.
Legs are paying for it a little bit now, but that's what I'm leaning on that. But yeah, no, incredible.
Another medal ceremony, another Invictus ambassador. David Beckham this time trackside for some of the UK's medals. And the games ended with wheelchair basketball, where Team UK took bronze, winning 32-6 against New Zealand.
It's about coming in, taking part, and you know what I mean, getting back out of that dark hole. So I've been such a dark hole for the last 18 months.
In all, Team UK won a total of 72 medals across 11 sports, 28 gold, 22 silver and 22 bronze. Some great moments to savour in the sporting arenas, but the Invictus Games are about so much more than just winning. The closing ceremony served as a poignant reminder of just what this competition is all about.
There were tears and huge smiles all around at the ceremony to mark the end of 8 days of sporting action for this 4th Invictus Games. A competition that has seen Team UK take home 72 medals, a more personal best than ever. 12,000 families, friends and VIPs filled the arena to thank the athletes for their commitment.
Thank you all for the incredible and emotional experiences you have given us. You have inspired and uplifted us all. You have left a lasting memory here in Sydney. You have become the captains of our souls.
In the final parade of nations, there were stories of huge personal achievements. The Exceptional Performance Award went to George Napata. The New Zealander was recognised for his sheer determination and the touching moment when the Australian wheelchair rugby team assisted him across the try line. A second award for Edwin Vermitten, the athlete who helped Brit Paul Guest during a wheelchair tennis match when his PTSD was triggered by an overhead helicopter. In the crowd, Invictus Games ambassador David Beckham and of course founder of the Games, His Royal Highness the Duke of Sussex, alongside his wife the Duchess of Sussex. The royal couple chose the Toronto Games in 2017 to make their first public appearance as a couple. Now, a year on and expecting their first child, Meghan has been truly welcomed into the Invictus family.
It is such an honor to be here tonight, celebrating all of you and supporting my husband in the Invictus Games, which he founded 4 years ago. In that short span of time, the Games have evolved into an international platform of some of the best athletics and sportsmanship you could ever witness, coupled with a camaraderie and close-knit sense of community, which can only be defined as the Invictus spirit.
The Prince chose to use his speech at the closing ceremony to once again stress how good mental health is the key to recovery.
When you accept a challenge as real, you can have hope. When you understand your vulnerability, you can become strong. When you are brave enough to ask for help, you can be lifted up. You can start living, doing, feeling, not simply surviving. And when you share your story, you can change the world. And I can't think of a better way to continue serving your country.
These Australia Games have made a huge impact on perceptions of the military, injury and mental health around the world. A legacy that the Netherlands hope to take forward when they host the next Games in The Hague in 2020.
Following in the footsteps of London, Orlando and Toronto, Sydney has provided a spectacular setting for the Games. For many of the competitors and their supporters, the journey to Australia was a long one, but this city has provided a lasting legacy for the Invictus movement.
I think Invictus is this tremendous rallying cry. You know, it's Prince Harry talked about it last week at the opening ceremony, where he talked to the Invictus generation. And that idea of the unconquered spirit of a generation of people, I think, is a really powerful line. So if that can be used to help bring people together, to bring our community together, to inspire a broader cross-section of the community about what they can do, not what they can't, then we should let that happen and enjoy the experience. I think Sydney was the right place. I mean, it's iconically Australian, and these are an Australian Games, they're not just a New South Wales Games, so I think the look of Sydney is important. But I think the way in which New South Wales and Sydney have embraced the games and embraced the competitors and have got in behind it, that for me will be one of the sort of the lasting sort of impacts for me personally. It's been brilliant to see full stadiums.
A lot of school children were here this week, and that's something we haven't seen specifically before. I mean, they made up a huge amount of the crowds. That's such a learning curve for them, isn't it?
11,000 school children over the week, and I think they all went through an incredible learning experience where they looked at things like mental health and physical health and talked about prosthetics. And I think that's how you start to really achieve generational change, is by talking to our young people, normalising the conversation, and then getting them out there and inspiring them by watching it. And they were full on and they were fully into it. And my congratulations to New South Wales Department of Education, who pulled that amazing programme together. Legacy, I think, is so much more than just the games and the sport. The legacy for us here was about raising awareness around the people that serve in our communities, the family and friends that are a part of that community, and really trying to shift the dial a little bit in terms of people and how they're perceived, and about that business of what it is people can do in spite of the challenges that they face. So it's about ability, not disability. And I really do hope that the lasting legacy of this will be a greater awareness about what it is people do who serve in their nation's defence forces, what it is to be a family member of those people who serve, and actually about inclusion more broadly within our communities, about what people can do when they're challenged. And if we can inspire some people there, then I reckon that's a pretty good legacy.
That's it from me for now. Now it's back to the Forces Sports Show studio.
The Adjutant General's Corps have retained their title at the Army Inter-Corps Netball Championships. There was success too for the Royal Engineers as they won promotion to the top tier. Many of the stars of Army Netball were on court for the Inter-Corps Championships. The Army have established themselves as the dominant force in military netball and will again look to defend their inter-services crown in the coming months. Success over the other two services is in part down to the talent they can call upon from within the ranks. Ellie Nawale was on top form for the AGC in this year's Inter-Corps competition. She featured for Fiji last season as part of their European tour. She was unlucky to miss out on selection for the Commonwealth Games, but having tasted international netball, she's determined to play for her country once more and has an eye on Netball's Super League too.
So World Cup is coming up next year. Hopefully they'll be doing trials, fingers crossed, back home. So I'd love to go for it.
I mean, playing Super League here is a great advert for the game, and that's something that you've got your eye on as well.
Definitely, definitely. So last year I was a training partner for Benacross Mavericks, which really it was just another level. Yeah, fingers crossed for what's coming up this year.
As the AGC progressed to the final of Division 1, Nawale's fellow Fijian international, D. Bolokoro, was helping to inspire the Royal Engineers to promotion from Division 2. Bolokoro, who will bid for a spot at next year's World Cup as well, was affiliated to Super League outfit Surrey Storm last season and has just signed for Celtic Dragons this time. Despite her experience of playing at elite level, she admits her place on the Sappers team is not guaranteed.
There's loads of good players in the Army as well, and it's a good competition as well. Even though I'm in that level, I still have to fight for position. So yeah, it's really good. The level of netball has just gone up, so it's really good.
So, onto the Division 1 decider, and defending champions the AGC didn't have it all their own way against a determined Royal Signals side in the final. Kate Loach and Melissa Price were on target as they took the game to the pre-tournament favourites. By half-time, they'd opened up a 9-6 lead. After the interval, the AGC came roaring back, and with Nawale on target, they moved in front. By the end, the champions had retained their title 13-10, much to the delight of their captain.
I know we have the quality in the team, and I know the girls could do it, and I'm so happy that we did come back after half-time.
Do you think this means for the AGC to record back-to-back titles?
It's really good. It's encouraging for the girls who don't normally get away to play netball. We encourage them. I mean, this year for AGC, we only had 31 people. It's the lowest number ever, but we just wanted to reinforce and show girls that we are winning titles, so get the time off where you can and come and support us.
The Army will hope the players that fired their sides to glory will be available for the Inter-Services Championship in the new year. The Royal Signals women and RLC men are the respective Army Corps indoor hockey champions for 2018. It follows 2 days of intense competition in Aldershot. John Knighton has the action.
The women's final between the Adjutant General's Corps and the Royal Signals in dark blue started with a bang. Signallers took an early lead with this excellent finish from captain Heidi Deavy. Claire Griffiths equalised shortly after for the AGC, but Nick George and Philippa Limbrick gave them a 3-1 lead by the break. Within 2 minutes of the restart, Deavy had made it 4-1 with her second goal, only for Griffiths to get her second for the AGC, 4-2, and game still very much on. They had their chances to bring it right back to the boil, but the next goal was crucial, and it went to the Signallers, and it gave them the title by 5-2. In the men's championship, the finals between the Royal Signals and the Royal Logistic Corps in yellow tops. The Signallers started best and took the lead in the 5th minute through John Hooker from a corner. But in a feisty final, the logisticians came right back at their opponents and levelled things through Chris Bubnelis from close range. It remained close fought at 1-1 until just a few minutes from the end, when the RLC bagged 2 quick goals. First, the Signallers were unable to clear the ball from the corner, and Bubnelis added his second. And a minute later, Mitchell Dales effectively wrapped it up. Patrick Considine pulled one back for the Royal Signals, but it wasn't enough to stop the RLC from winning the title.
Legends from the darts world have been joined by heroes from the football field for a special fundraising event for veterans. 2004 world champion Andy Fordham teamed up with former Rangers players to raise cash for the Poppy Scotland appeal. David McCann reports.
A BDO world champion in 2004 and winner of 14 titles during his 23-year career in professional darts. But tonight, Andy the Viking Fordham is using his skills at the Oche to support military veterans by helping raise cash for Poppy Scotland.
Well, I just think it's something that should never ever be forgotten. I mean, what some of these people went through, 100 years ago, it was just horrendous. I mean, when you see some of the films that are put out nowadays, it's just, you couldn't even dream about being there.
The Viking is playing at a fundraising charity darts night alongside some of his footballing heroes. Members of the legendary Rangers 9-in-a-row winning side are joining him for a Poppy Scotland darts night at Ibrox Stadium.
I think it's quite obvious to everyone throughout the years at Rangers that the connection we've got with that side of it. We support them 1,000,000% because of what they've done. And it's iconic words, lest we forget. And we have the forces here all the time for the games. So they've supported us down the years, so it's obvious that we're going to support them.
The club has a long history of supporting the armed forces, and nights like this play a vital part in helping the charity in the work it does, with fans paying to watch some of the legends of the darts world face off against their footballing icons at the Oche, and everyone is only too happy to get behind the worthy cause.
It's not the first time I've worked for Poppy Scotland, but I've also done a lot for Help the Heroes, anything to do with that. Obviously, you can't imagine what they went through and that, and we need to give them every bit of support, financial, as well as every other way possible, you know.
With Remembrance Sunday approaching, the charity is gearing up for its annual push to raise funds for our veterans. And events like these are a big part of keeping Poppy Scotland's fundraising effort on target.
Dogs from the 1st Military Working Dog Regiment have hosted an international canine biathlon. The annual competition pits the dogs against challenges that they could face on operations. The dogs and their handlers endured a 10-kilometre run through a variety of obstacles. Patience and teamwork are key, as well as bonding between the pairings. 46 teams took part altogether, including NATO teams from Latvia, Belgium and America. And finally, let's head back to Sydney and Kath Brazier at the Invictus Games.
The athletes and supporters from the 18 competing nations here in Australia are heading home. The Invictus Games now has 2 years off before returning for a 5th edition in The Hague in the Netherlands in 2020. Game on Down Under was the message of this competition, and these games certainly didn't disappoint. We'll leave you with some of the memorable moments here in Sydney.